Welcome into the RotoWire PGA Rundown Show. I am your host, Ryan Andrade. Joining me, as always, is my fellow golf writer at RotoWire, Mr. Lynn Hochberg. Today, we'll be previewing all things fantasy golf for the Players' Championship. We'll talk some DFS. We'll talk some best bets. We'll talk some one and done. And we have a couple special guests that'll be joining us later on today. Our RotoWire colleagues, Kevin O'Brien and Lauren Jump. We're going to go through a player draft that we did earlier. And you'll get to see the teams. You can let us know which teams you think are the best. But, before we dive into anything else, Lynn, let's talk, as we always do, about what we saw last week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Great tournament. It was quite the battle down the stretch between Akshay Bhatia and Daniel Berger. Berger really led this thing pretty much the entire week. He had a 5-stroke lead on Bhatia going into the back nine, and Bhatia just went on a magical run, started the back nine with 4 birdies, threw it an eagle, ultimately won this thing in a playoff, Lynn. So just your thoughts on the week and, just that battle down the stretch between Bhatia and Berger.
Yeah, I was debating with myself whether Berger blew it or not. I don't know if he really blew it. I don't know if he really choked or anything. I mean, Bhatia was a record-setting performance, strokes gained, short game, the best in the ShotLink era. I mean, he just was incredible with his wedge, incredible with his putter. I guess Berger could have made more birdies, but he wasn't going in the water or anything like that. So it was just a great, great performance. The other guy's trying too. And, Bhatia, now his 3rd win. He's 24. He's been around a long time already for just age 24. He's been playing well all season beforehand. I'm thinking maybe if he's ready to elevate himself into the elite class of golfer now. Which would involve winning a major. So we shall see.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Berger played the back nine, even par, which, that's a tough back nine. There's a lot of tough holes that can really get you. So it's hard to really say he blew it, kind of like Shane Lowry did the week before. But, I thought it had much the same feel as Russell Henley stealing it from Colin Morikawa the year prior at Bay Hill. So, that's going to be a tough one for Berger. Everybody was, trying to pump him up all week. He hadn't really been in contention for a win in a really, really long time. He hadn't won since 21. So that's going to definitely sting a little bit, I think, for him. But at the same time, he's definitely playing some really good golf. So, a lot to look forward to the rest of the year. You had Colin Morikawa had another really good finish, 5th place finish. He was in contention all week. Ludwig Oberg also hadn't really seen him all year. Good to see him towards the top of the leaderboard. Really, really talented player. I think we're all really high on. So good to see him playing well. But, let's get into some of the top storylines for the Players' Championship this week. And Lynn, I think it has to start with Rory McIlroy. He's dealing with a back injury. He had to withdraw prior to the 3rd round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. The latest we've heard is that it's still bothering him. He's at home right now. He's not planning to come on property until Wednesday at some point. But obviously we're hoping he plays, right, Lynn? But even if he does is able to give it a go, what sort of can we expect from Rory, just given the lack of practice and reps on the course that he might get?
Yeah, it's a mystery right now, and for people playing DFS, at least you have until Thursday morning to lock your lineups. I would suggest using the full allotment of time there. Now, those of us who put out articles don't have that luxury. Rory McIlroy is not in my article. But I would say that if he does show up, he will think he can play 4 rounds. He will think he can win. I don't think it's going to be one or the other. Well, let me see if I can get in 36 holes or something like that, because then he runs into the problem of maybe exacerbating it and then really screwing it up worse for the Masters. So if he shows up, I think he thinks he's fine. I think he thinks he can win. But he's not in my article. But if my article came out Thursday morning, it might be different.
Yeah, no, I think we're all just hoping for the best there with Rory, but you know, like you said, the Masters is really what he's going to be looking for. He's not going to put himself at risk, but yeah, Rory's played this course so many times. Obviously, he won it last year, so you know, if he's there, if he's playing, he's going to have a good chance to win. You know, the other big name in the field, Scotty Scheffler, he's kind of been struggling. Had a T24 at Bay Hill, which honestly to a lot of guys is like a miscut by like 8 shots. He's just not really looked like himself the last few starts. I think, you know, the way we started this year with him winning in his first start at the Amex, I think we were all just ready to say he's going to have this huge year, maybe win 7-8 times, win a couple majors, who knows. But really looks frustrated out there. This was his first time losing strokes on approach since 2022. So Len, are you hitting the panic button right now on Scotty Scheffler?
I don't know if I'm hitting the panic button on Scotty Scheffler, but I certainly was surprised. I thought that, and he did handle his Thursday issue. He played his best round of the week on Thursday and then got progressively worse. So there are a lot of things going wrong for Scotty Scheffler. There's not just one thing to fix, and it's hard to fix all things at once. So I'm not hitting the panic button, but he's also priced at 14,200 this week, and that's a lot of change to for a question mark. We wanted Scotty Scheffler to be a sure thing, even when he was sort of struggling with playing well on Thursdays and stuff. He did finish third. He did finish fourth. You know, in 2 consecutive starts right after the Amex, and now he's certainly started to trickle backwards. So, you know, I'm gonna not panic, but not play Scotty Scheffler right now.
Yeah, good stuff. And you know, as we talk about this week, TPC Sawgrass, I think you know, this is one of the hardest tournaments for me all season to predict. You know, you got a lot of top players who have really just very up and down records here. They might have a top 5 here, but you know, 3 missed cuts as well in the last few starts. So Len, you know, what kind of makes this course so volatile? And what kind of skill sets are you sort of looking for around TPC Sawgrass?
Well, a couple of things, Ryan. First of all, I think in some ways it might be the best field that we see all year. The majors, they let in other players from other tours. They let in amateurs. They let in grandfathered in long ago champions. They're club pros, depending on which major. And there's reasons for doing that. And I think it's wonderful that these golfers get to play in these majors, but they're not competitive and they're not going to be there. And very often in a major, if there's 156, we could lop off 30 or so or 40 or more and not even enter them into our calculations and stuff. But these are really the best players. There are some that aren't here, but I think it's the best field. So that's one reason. And second is you really need to have all parts of your game. You don't have to be the longest driver. You don't have to be the best putter. You really need the proverbial, and I said it last week for Bay Hill, you need all 14 clubs in your bag. You're going to have to make all kinds of different shots at this golf course. It's not a tricked out golf course, but it does require skill set in every area. And it's hard to have every part of your game going well every year at this time. And so, yeah, we've seen Tiger Woods, who's won it twice here. He's only had five going on memory here from my article, 5 top 10s in 19 tries. Tiger Woods, 5 top 10s in 19 tries at this tournament. Phil Mickelson in his heyday, 3 out of 26. Even McIlroy, who's won twice, 5 out of 15. So it just a lot of circumstances come together all at once to make it a very difficult situation, not to mention water on 14 holes, which can blow up a whole tournament in one swing.
Yeah, absolutely. You can be playing really good golf, honestly, and it's just, you know, you have one bad hole, put a couple in the water, and all of a sudden, you know, it's a miscut and it looks like you played terrible. So, yeah, TPC Sawgrass is so much fun. You know, Len, I feel like every year, and especially this year for whatever reason, there's a lot of talk about, is the Players the fifth major? Should it be included in that category? How do you sort of view that argument? And, if it's not the fifth major, what do you think it needs to become to earn major championship status?
Well, it's almost like if Brian Roloff says we want to make it a major, I think he'll force his will. The PGA Tour will force their will on golf's governing bodies, and it'll become a major. I don't think it should. 4 seems like a good number. There's 4 in tennis. I don't know if that means why there has to be 4 in golf, but I don't think anyone ever complained about there being 4. One of the things, it's called the Players Championship. It's for the players of the PGA Tour. It's the flagship event of the PGA Tour. They did what I think is a terrible thing this year. They cut the field from 144 to 120. That's 24 more PGA Tour players who don't get to play in the tournament for the PGA Tour players. And if you do bring in a major, if you do want to make it a major, and then presumably you bring in some of the players from other tours around the world, DP World Tour, LIV. What do you do with LIV golfers? This is a PGA Tour event. LIV golfers aren't allowed to play in PGA Tour events. You can't have a major without DeChambeau, Rahm, Cam Smith, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I'm sure they'll figure that part out, but I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think the middle class of the PGA Tour continues to get squeezed by 24 this time, and more will be missing if it becomes a major. So I've never said this tournament needed to be more than it was. I always thought it was a great tournament. We see how volatile it could be for the top guys. I would leave it the way it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it needs to be a major. I think it's the Players Championship. I think it's the 5th biggest trophy in golf. I think every, big time player, they want to win this event because it just means a lot. It's on an iconic golf course. It has great history. So I think that's good enough. What more does it really need, right?
Exactly.
So that should wrap it up for all the top storylines. Len, let's jump right into the DraftKings DFS. And, you kind of mentioned it, Scotty and Rory, obviously way up there, 14,200, 11,700. Do you anticipate, maybe just because of some of the question marks we talked about earlier, them being a little bit lower owned on DraftKings than maybe they would have been?
Absolutely. Rory especially. But I'm sure some people are going to think, well, everyone's going to be off Scotty, and Scotty can't be this bad for this long. I'm going to play him. And, there's some merit to that consideration. But, I would expect both of them to be lower. And with such an elite field, you can, and with in some question marks, and I think there are some very other good options just below McIlroy and Scheffler, that you could craft a lineup and pretty much avoid the 7,000, avoid the 6,000s, although a bunch of 6,000s are going to make the cut.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you that because, I was kind of looking at this, and I think that 9K range is really, really strong. Do you have a favorite play out of that 9K range there?
I do, and it's Colin Morikawa, and I'm surprised that Colin Morikawa is in the 9s. There are only 3 guys in the 10s, and the third one is Tommy Fleetwood, and Fleetwood's fine so far this year, but he's not been playing like Morikawa, and I would have expected and would have thought that Morikawa would be priced a little bit higher and would have been the number 3 guy on the board, but he's not. But he's right there. He has not had a good history at the Players. But as we've been discussing all along, you don't necessarily need a good history at the Players to all of a sudden play well at the Players. And no one's going to play well at the Players every year. Even Scheffler, missed the cut his first year and didn't have a good year his second year. And then after he won 2, he finished 20th, which, like you said, is like a miscut for other guys. He finished 20th last year. So, Morikawa, not only has he ended his long winless drought, but he's continued to play well after. There was no exhale. Oh, I finally got that win. He came back. He played great at Riviera. He was great at Bay Hill. You don't have to be an elite putter to win this tournament. And besides, Morikawa is kind of mid-range in putting this year. He's ranked 105th, a little bit below, losing strokes on the green, but not a lot at all.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's good for him, just considering how good he hits the ball normally. But yeah, definitely good to see Collin Morikawa playing well. I'm very high on him this week. As we go towards the sort of the middle range, the mid tier, a couple guys stood out to me that I really like. Cameron Young was at 8,100. I think is an incredible price. He's coming off a T3 at Bay Hill. He had one of the best driving tournaments of his entire career. He finished first in strokes gained off the tee. He was first in driving accuracy and second in driving distance. He was also second in greens and regulation. So if that type of ball striking carries over to TPC Sawgrass, definitely going to have to watch out for Cameron Young. A little bit lower than that, another guy that really stood out to me was Minwoo Lee. I thought he was way too low here at 7,500. He's been red hot. He's got 8 top 15 finishes over his last 11 starts worldwide. The ball striking has taken a really big leap forward in 2026. Continues to just flash the around the green play. The putting has been great. And he's played well at TPC Sawgrass before. He's got a pair of top 20s in 3 starts. So really like both those guys. Len, any guys in the 8 or 7K range that you really like this week?
Yeah, Ludwig Oberg at 8,700 on DraftKings. Surprised to see him that low. He's improved in every tournament this year. I'm going to try and remember what it was. I think he withdrew from the Sony, then he missed a cut, then he finished 30th, 7th, then he finished 20th, and last week he finished 3rd. He's gotten better every week, and he's in plus territory in every strokes gained metric, and that's not normally the case for him. So after a subpar 2025, in which all he did was win a signature event, but that's a bad year for the best players. He's playing very well this year, and 87 is a very affordable price. Certainly, if you're going to avoid the $14,000 guy, that $14,000 guy, and the $11,000 guy, you can get a lot of good players into your lineup. And so I do like him a lot this week. And I just want to bounce the other way for 1 second back into the 9s, and Hideki Matsuyama, again, talking about guys who play well, but not all the time. His last 5 Players Championships, 3 top 8s, 2 missed cuts. That's a hell of a full house. And you've got the key for him is going to be, whether he sprays his driver or not. If he can keep his driver, that's his issue now. He's 57th in putting, Hideki Matsuyama, and strokes gained putting. So it's really going to come down, if he can hit his driver straight, and I think he probably knows that he could be in the mix. He could be in the top 10 in this tournament again. So, but yeah, I also like Cam Young like you do. Minwoo Lee scares me. I know I know all of what you said is true, but Minwoo Lee with water all around, I mean, he's just a very, very aggressive player. Maybe he's not as aggressive as he was. Maybe he's learning that you have to pick your spots. He's still a pretty young guy, mid-20s, don't know his age off the top of my head, but he has been on a heater.
Yeah. I think, Hideki, obviously, that's been a big concern. It's just the driving, but I think it helps Hideki and Minwoo Lee and guys like that you don't really have to hit driver all over this course. There's a lot of courses, you can hit 3 wood, you can hit 7 wood, you can hit a 4 iron, whatever, and still have a decent yardage in. So just the ability to change things up, hit different shots off the tee, I think might help some of these guys that, historically struggle on these typical PGA Tour setups where you have to hit a driver every single hole. But we will see. Quickly going into the 6K range, Len, it's very deep. Obviously, this is the deepest field we've seen all year. I think as I was going through it, I think you can go all the way down to the min price and find guys that, could be solid options here. If you had to just pick one, though, out of the 6K range, who would be your favorite play?
There are going to be guys in the 6,000s. They're in the 10s, and this is interesting to me. A little sidetrack: 10s, 9s, and 8s, or 10 and above, 9 and 8. There's only 20 guys, so guys in the 7,000s are sort of predicted, forecast should be top 25s. There are some guys in the 7,000s who just should be in the top 25. They're in the top 25 in the DraftKings prices. And there are only 55 guys, 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s, 55 guys on the DraftKings board. That means there are at least 10 guys in the 6,000s. If every guy above them made the cut, there would be 10 guys. But obviously we know, so there's going to be a lot more than 10 guys in the 6,000s making the cut. 6,800, Jordan Smith, the Brit, 33-year-old Brit, good start as a rookie on the PGA Tour. He's made 4 or 5 cuts. Checking my notes here, he's had top 25s in his past 2 starts. He's never played Sawgrass before, but every course he's playing, he pretty much hasn't played before. So I do like him. And at 6,700, Matt McCarty, playing very consistently this year and was a Sawgrass rookie last year, finished 20th. And if you need something really, really down the road, Lee Hodges, 6,300. Not a hell of a lot of confidence for him to have a high finish, but he finished 35th here a couple of years ago, playing pretty well, top 40 on tour in putting and in driving accuracy, 2 key things for me this week. So I like the 3 of those guys. I know you asked for 1. Sorry.
More the merrier, Lynn. I think it's great for builds because just with the depth of this field, you can build out your roster however you want. If you want to roster Scotty Scheffler, you got plenty of guys down low that you can take advantage of that with. So a lot of good options in the 6K range for sure this week. Let's go over to the betting board here, and as I pull up the odds on DraftKings. Scotty Scheffler is not 3-1 this week. He is plus 425.
Whoa.
Yeah, went up quite a bit. You got Rory McIlroy still sitting there at plus 1,400. Colin Morikawa is just over 20-1. But Len, I'm gonna just try to keep this a little bit shorter. But if you had to pick your favorite bet of the week, whether it's an outright bet, whether it's a placement prop, give me your favorite bet of the week for the Players Championship.
Akshay Bhatia, almost 2-1, plus 190 for a top 20, not a top 10, a top 20, doubling our money. I think most of us would take that most of the time. I'll give you a 10, you give me a 20, I'll take that. I think, yes, it's difficult coming after a win, but this was his 3rd win. He was happy afterward, but he's not jumping in the water. He's not doing a swan dive into the lake or anything like that. They're becoming more commonplace for him, which shows that he's just becoming a better and better and more professional guy. I think he will come out again this week. I don't know if he'll win, but I think he'll be representative, and top 20 seems well within reach.
Yeah, I like that. The guy I am going to shout out is Ryo Hisatsune for a top 10 finish at plus 850.
Wow.
For Rio this week. He's already racked up 3 of them this year. To me, this week he checks all of my boxes. He hits a lot of fairways, 17th in driving accuracy, strong iron player. He's gained on approach in 6 straight tournaments, and very reliable short game. He's gained around the greens in 6 of 7 starts. So those are my 3 biggest keys this week, and nice. Rio, I think, brings nice value to the table. I did have one honorable mention. It was a matchup between Sahith Theegala and Sam Burns. I'm going to take Theegala minus 110 to defeat Sam Burns. Theegala just playing some excellent golf this year. Good to see him playing much better after a rough 2025. Putting and short game have been terrific, and Burns he's been searching for it. He's missed 3 of his last 4 cuts. He's never finished top 25 here at TPC Sawgrass. So I think that's a really good matchup for Theegala. All right. It is time for the one and done here. And I am going to bring on our guests. I'm going to add them to the stage here. Hello. We welcome on Kevin O'Brien and Lauren Jump. If you guys are familiar with this live stream, we saw them a lot last year. They were here for all the major shows that we did. So I'm happy to have you guys jump in once again.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us back on.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Last week, we're going to talk about some one and done here. We're all in the same one and done pool together. We all contribute to the one and done article on RotoWire. Last week, not good for any of us. We all did terrible. Lauren and I, we had Matt Fitzpatrick who finished 41st. Kevin, you had Tommy Fleetwood who finished 49th, and Len had Rory who didn't even finish. So we got a lot of work to do this week to get everybody back on our side. Luckily, we didn't lose a ton of ground. The best finish anybody had was Colin Morikawa, who finished solo 5th, and there was only 4 people that took him. Nobody else had anybody inside the top 10. This is a big week that we can make up ground. It's the biggest purse of the year, but this is a very unpredictable venue. So Lauren, I'm going to start with you. Who are you thinking this week for one and done, and tell us why?
Well, you mentioned Colin Morikawa, and that's who I'm going to go with this week. I'm going to just go with the momentum that he has right now. Obviously, he's a solid iron player. He's the 3rd best approach player on tour this year, and he's getting a stroke per round on approach. Plus, his putter has looked really good, especially recently over the last 3 weeks. So I don't know. He just had a baby. He already won this year. He got 5th last week. He's just really perfectly suited for TPC. And also got 10th here last year. So I'm going to ride it.
I like that pick. All right, Kevin, what are you thinking for one and done? I think you are the highest out of all of us in the pool so far this season. So what do you got this week?
Well, you guys are welcome then for wasting that Tommy dart last week. Can I just copy everything Lauren said? But for real, I mean, I think this is probably an issue with a lot of us. I've had Scotty earmarked for this spot all year. I mean, since last year, we've got that big number 1 prize, but I don't think I can do it right now. I think that there's other spots to use him. She said Collins is on a roll. I think he's got his groove back. He's got a win. And he's in that upper tier of guys I want this week. Can't fall too far down the board from Scotty, so I'm only going to go 3 spots on the OWGR and go with him as well.
I like it. Len, are you going Morikawa as well, or where are you going?
The last 6 winners of the players have all been ranked in the top 10 in the world. Scotty Scheffler twice, Rory McIlroy twice, Justin Thomas in 2021, Cam Smith in 2022. But if you look at the top 10 right now, they're not very top 10-ish. You have Scotty, you have Rory, Justin Rose not playing great, Ben Griffin not repeating from last year, not playing as great, JJ Spawn soon to not be in the top 10 the way he's playing. So it's really hard. Sepp Straka just crept in there. He's playing very well. But I'm going to go the guy who used to be in the top 10 and looks like he might be back, and that's Ludwig Hochberg. We talked about him earlier, Ryan. He's just been playing great. Finished 3rd last week. This year is definitely different for him, gaining strokes in every strokes gained metric. And just like the way he's playing. I liked his demeanor on the course when we did see him last week at Bay Hill. It looks like, I don't want to say it looks like he's trying. He's always trying, but sometimes you could tell if a guy is really dialed in and really going for it. And I think that's where he is right now in the 2026 season.
I like that, Len. He was my second choice. I couldn't decide.
No, that's a great pick. I am going to keep it extremely simple. I'm going to take Scotty Scheffler. He's the best player in the event with the biggest purse. I think it just comes down to that, honestly. I'm hoping people get scared off by him. They don't want to take him this week because of, some of his recent struggles, the slow starts, the approach play not as good. This is a guy he's been the best iron player on tour for the last 5 years, and it really hasn't been all that close. So I'm going to trust, all that data that he's going to figure it out. I think when he does figure it out, he's going to be winning by multiple shots again very, very soon. I think at the same time, his driving, his short game, his putting have all been really, really, really strong. If you look at the strokes gain numbers, and oh, by the way, he's won this event twice. So definitely knows how to get it done around this place.
Oh, well, hasn't he won? I mean, come on.
What a radical pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, though. I think there's a chance people are scared off. So this is a great time. If he does do well and you're the only one that picks him, that's, points to you.
That's the
As long
hope.
as he doesn't throw
That
his ball in the
is-
water again this week,
That is the play. Yeah.
I think the rest of us are looking for reasons not to take him. So he's still my second option too, Ryan.
The more everybody overthinks, the better. Let's get into the player draft, and maybe this will be a preview of things with Scotty. But we did this a few times last year for all the majors. It's an 8-round snake draft. Your top 4 18-hole scorers for each round count toward the team total. So it gives us a little bit of flexibility if, a couple of our guys miss the cut, which is very likely to happen on this type of course. I did a random generator to determine the draft order. It's going to go Kevin, me, Lynn, Lauren. We already completed this draft, but we are going to just reveal everything to you guys right here. You can let us know what you think of each of our teams. We'll give you a quick explanation of each of the picks. And Kevin, I think as I add the share screen here so everybody can see, Kevin, you are up first. Is it going to be Scotty Scheffler? We're not going to overthink this one, right?
Right. I mean, how do I go with Colin Morikawa and not take him number 1 here? Well, it's because I have other opportunities to use Scotty in one and done. But when you get the first pick in a draft, you can't pass up Scotty Scheffler, so he's going right here.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, seeing that you took Scotty, I went ahead and went with Colin Morikawa. I might have taken Rory this week, but just a little bit of question about the back and how that's going to hold up. But Colin, I think, is playing extremely, extremely well and fits this course beautifully. So over to you, Lynn.
Yeah, I took Rory. Obviously a lot of issues there, and don't know how it's going to work out. But we do have 8 rounds. There is room to recover from if he doesn't show up. But the upside was there.
Yeah, I think this might be the first time I was a little bit relieved Roy didn't fall to me. I mean, I think he'll end up being fine. It's just obviously somewhat of a question mark that we don't usually have for him. But of course, the person I took here first was Tommy Fleetwood. Not feeling overly confident about him either based on some of his recent struggles. But overall, he does have elite form, which rarely dips. His ball striking profile fits TPC Sawgrass pretty much as well as anyone else in this field. And strong course history, 14th last year and pair of top 10. So that was number 1 for me. And then I went with Xander Schauffele next, one of the most consistent stars on tour, maybe not as much this year. He looked pretty solid last week, kind of to start things off. He does rank first in strokes gained around the green among this field at TPC and finished as high as 2nd here in 2024. So I'm hoping he can put it all together.
Tommy's game only dips at Bay Hill, apparently.
Or when you pick him, that's when it does.
So here my choice was Ludwig Oberg or Cam Young, and I know I just picked Ludwig Oberg for the one and done, and we held this draft a couple of days ago, and so I took Cam Young. I think maybe I would have changed it now. I would take Ludwig Oberg now, but both of them were right there for me. I'm happy with Cam Young.
Yeah, I went ahead and went with Siwoo Kim here. Honestly, he was a lot higher. I mean, he's the 4th choice on a lot of the odds charts this week. Obviously playing terrific golf. The last couple starts hasn't finished quite as high, but you look at the ball striking numbers. Nobody has hit the ball better than Siwoo Kim this year, and that's going to be important if you have control of your ball around TPC Sawgrass, you can make a lot of birdies. It's when you're a little off that those big numbers can just pile up. So I'm feeling good about Siwoo with my 2nd pick here.
All right. Well, number 8 here, we will toss in Russell Henley. He has been pretty good, just through all the strokes gained categories this year. He's actually been a little inconsistent on approach in the last few months, but he does have 4 top 20s when he's made the cut. He's fared well enough at Sawgrass. I will toss him in here. Next one, thank you, Len, for Ludwig Oberg. Definitely one of my guys this year. And so, he's trending in the right direction. I really can't pass him up here, and we'll be rooting for him together.
I like that. I went with Hideki Matsuyama here. Len and I talked about it a little bit earlier. As long as he can just manage it off the tee, the rest of the game is really, really strong. He's putting about as good as he ever has right now. The iron play is great. Short game's great. Got a pretty decent history around this venue as well, compared to some of the other top names. So I will take Hideki here with the number 3 pick.
My next pick got a little bit of oohs and ahs in the room as we were drafting. I went with Brooks Koepka. I think we pretty much exhausted already the guys who I think can win this tournament. In the first, we have 10 picks leading up to Brooks Koepka there. And we saw what Brooks Koepka did at the Cognizant when he figured out what was wrong with his putter, because that was really, 90% of his problem in his first few tournaments was what's on the greens. He was playing very well on approach and in other areas. So assuming that he can continue to do what he did the final 3 rounds at the Cognizant with his putter, I think he can be borderline top 10.
All right.
Yeah, that was a bold pick. I was not expecting to go that way, but I would love to see Brooks up there for sure.
Yeah, that would be cool. All right, so me next. I went Sepp Straka. He's had strong tee to green game, which has translated to 3 top 15s here at TPC Sawgrass, including as high as a tie for 9th. So he's pretty reliable on this course, although he does have some putting issues, which make me a little bit nervous. But I feel pretty good about him this week. And my next pick, I'm excited about Min-Woo Lee. We got a nice stare down from him to the cameras last week as he took the field, and he's coming in red hot. He's T2, T12, T6 on a little run there. He leads the tour in total driving and has pretty much a proven track record at Sawgrass with T6 in 2023. So let's go Min-Woo.
The chef. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Coming back, Akshay Bhatia. Don't think he'll win. Hard to win 2 in a row. The Bay Hill and Players would be quite a double back to back. But the short game was so good. It doesn't even have to be nearly as good to have a successful week. Right here, we're outside the top 10. And so very happy there. I think he could finish in the top 10, but happy with that pick.
Yeah, I went with Matt Fitzpatrick for my 4th pick. Didn't have the greatest showing at Bay Hill. Was expecting a lot more from him, but I'm still really high on him. I think he's still hitting the ball really well. I trust his short game. He's had some good finishes around this course. So, I think this is really good value for Fitzpatrick. I think he's, a better player than some of the guys that have went so far already. So I'm going to take Fitzpatrick and feel good about it.
Right on. Don't tell me this guy can't win, Len. He has won 3 times in his last 15 starts. So we are going to toss in Chris Goddard up here.
Len's
hit the skids a little bit the last few weeks, but at this point in the draft, I want some upside, and he's still number 7 in the world. So we will add him to the team. Next guy up. This I know also was an interesting one. Jake Knapp.
Another guy that burned a lot of people last week.
Yeah. Some questions about him, of course, but nothing has really come up since, so I'm optimistic he's good to go. Honestly, really no one is faring better in the strokes gain stats. He's just been trendy for everybody all year. So we're going to bank on whatever took him out last week is not going to be an issue here, and best.
Yeah, I think you could make an argument that, Jake Knapp's been the best just pure golfer this year, just considering how good he's been in every single start. So that's a good pick. If he does play, obviously, I'm going to go with Victor Hovland. I think I saw some good things from him last week. I think he probably could have finished higher than he did. But just had a few putts that slipped by that shouldn't have. But Hovland, I think, is a great iron player, maybe the best iron player right now on the PGA Tour. And I think that's going to help him a lot at TPC Sawgrass.
Jacob Bridgman right here for me. What I like, not of course he won at Riviera. What I liked is that the next week he came back and he opened with a 75 at Bay Hill, and you thought, okay, he's just gonna, he's still celebrating his big win, but he had 3 good rounds after that, and he battles his way into the top 20. I don't think he's going to take his foot off the gas this week. I was really impressed with the way he finished that tournament.
Cool. Well, next up, I went with Sahith Gala. Don't normally pick him too much, but he's a strong ball striker, and his game is pretty good just all around to compete here. Nothing really, really stands out stat-wise for this course specifically, but he's just doing really well this year. He has great form. He has 3 top 10 finishes, and I want to ride that momentum with him. I really like how he's been playing. Which then brings me to Aaron Rai, who I'm excited about. I think, he's really accurate so far this year. He has a high greens and regulation profile, kind of, works well, leveling the playing field at TPC. And he ranks 2nd in strokes gained off the tee, which in this field could really help, and even better, 1st in driving accuracy among this field at this course. So he has 3 strong showings here, including 14th last year. I also took him at plus 188 for a top 30 finish on DraftKings too. So I think that could end up working out well.
Daniel Berger here for me. Obviously played very well last week, had been playing well going in. Do I think there'll be a little hangover and he'll be upset, but he didn't play, that he sort of lost the tournament? I really don't think he lost the tournament. It wasn't like Ryan and I were talking earlier, like Shane Lowry lost the tournament the week before. Daniel Berger did not lose this tournament. Akshay Bhatia took it away. So I think Daniel Berger will still feel really good and really hungry. And he had been playing well even before Bay Hill. A lot to like about Berger in Florida, especially.
Yep, like that pick for sure. Kurt Kitayama is who I took here. I was really hoping he would get back to me. I'm really, really high on Kitayama's game. I think he's an exceptional ball striker. Really high on strokes gain off the tee, strokes gain approach. And he's shown the ability to pop with the putter as well. So I will take Kitayama here for this pick.
All right, this guy has not been very sharp lately, but he is the 8th ranked golfer in the world, finished 9th here last year. Give me Bobby Mack with pick number 24. And then the next up, our guy Shane Lowry. So Len just touched on him. Of course, not the greatest finish for him a couple weeks ago. I'm thinking he's still eager and chomping at the bit to shake that off as fast as he can. He generally fares well in Florida, so he's my guy here.
I like it. I am going with Ricky Fowler for this pick. I don't know if I'm not sure if Ricky Fowler has ever gone in one of these drafts, but I'm going to take Ricky. He's up to 18th in the data golf rankings, which I was kind of surprised at, but you look at the results. They've all been pretty good this year. He's finished T28 or better in all 5 of his starts, coming off a top 10 at Bay Hills, putted it really, really well this season. So, and he's also a former winner at TPC Sawgrass back in 2015. So maybe he can build off of those good vibes this week.
Ricky Fowler would be in the Tour Championship if the Tour Championship started today. So he's having a very good season. With my 7th pick, I did not want to pick Patrick Cantlay and just endure a miscut or a tie for 35th or whatever. There's been too much Patrick Cantlay in these drafts for me and fantasy golf through the years and stuff, and it's just utter disappointment. And I'm sorry, that's maybe the nicest thing I can say about Maverick McNeely, that you're not Patrick Cantlay, and I am picking Maverick McNeely here. Not playing the greatest golf right now, but still, a talent.
You don't need those Cantlay vibes on your team either.
Gosh, no.
Yeah, we don't need those.
Okay, so next I went with Corey Connors. He's one of the most precise ball strikers on the tour. His putter's definitely been giving him some troubles this year, holding him back a little bit, but he's been pretty successful with it actually here at TPC Sawgrass. So he's gaining strokes on the greens over his last several starts. So that gives me a little bit more confidence. Plus, he does rank first in strokes gained off the tee among this field at TPC Sawgrass. So let's go, Corey. My last pick, I will round it out with Tom Hoagie. He's just done so well here at this course. 7 of 7 cuts made. He's a sneaky accurate ball striker. He can definitely really take advantage of this course's demanding layout with his solid tee to green game as well. Where among the he also ranks first in strokes gained approach, which is pretty important here on this course, right? So I like that for him. I also did take him to finish in the top 30 at plus 430.
Nice.
He has popped a lot early this year in rankings. And
I know. Yeah. So we'll see if he can get it done. But as a last pick, I thought that was kind of a nice one to round it out.
Well, with my last pick here, what are we up to? The 30th golfer in the draft here. I just wanted to take a big swing here. I didn't want to take necessarily who I thought was the 30th best golfer, and whoever that might be. I won't. But so I went with Justin Thomas. And Justin Thomas just made his debut last week. He was terrible. He actually finished last at Bay Hill. Not easy to do, but a former winner here. We know he will come back this week and try and do a little better than last place. So just a big swing with upside, but not expecting a whole lot.
Yeah, never know how that's gonna go. We got 4 guys that we don't have to count. So if you have more than 4 guys on your team that missed the cut, we're gonna be in trouble when we put all these scores together. But I'm gonna go with Adam Scott. He was gonna be my last pick. It was between him or Ryo Hisatsune, who I talked about a little bit earlier. I'm gonna take Scott just because he's got a ton of experience at TPC Sawgrass. Won here back in what was that, 2004, I believe. So played really, really well so far this year. Ball striking's been great, and the putter's been pretty good as well. So I will take the old man Adam Scott to round things out for me.
I was hoping he was going to fall to me with that one. So with Mr. Irrelevant, shout out to Justin Rose, 5th ranked golfer in the world, not making the cut here. Nikolai Højgaard was another gentleman I considered strongly here. Also amazing numbers. Quick shout out to Ryan Fox, sneaky numbers as well. But we're going to lean on Dana Golf 2 here, Ryan, and toss in Harris English with the last one.
I like that. He's a big game hunter, Harris English.
Steady player, does everything well. Good guy to have at this course. Not elite any one area. I like those guys a lot.
Yeah, he's not been great here, but yeah, been steady and hoping it turns into US Open, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's gonna do it for the draft here. Let us know who you guys think is the best team that we got here. I feel pretty good about mine. I think I got a ton of great ball strikers. I think I'm gonna take you guys' money this week.
You're
not feeling those vibes?
I kind of like Kevin's team.
You don't like your own team?
Same.
It's okay. I wish I didn't pick Xander. It just doesn't feel good, but maybe he can turn it around.
All right. Well,
I never win these things, so yeah.
No, don't reverse jinx yourself, Lynn. You always win.
You're number 1 in our hearts, Lynn. Don't you worry about it.
Wait till Butch wins this tournament.
So we are planning to drop launch, I should say, a one and done contest coming up here in a few weeks, guys. So if anyone's been following along with our one and done articles, thank you so much for reading those. But yeah, stay tuned because we are really excited to launch that probably end of March or early April. So
nice.
Fun. Then you can
That's gonna be
against us too.
That's gonna be a lot of fun for sure. A lot of big stuff in the lead up for the Masters.
Oh yeah.
last thing here is, I guess, Len and I usually close out with some score predictions. The weather looks a little bit dicey this week. Looks like we could get some rain. I feel like every year since it's moved back to March, we get some type of delay. But some of the photos from the grounds yesterday, the greens were really, really dry. They were browned out. Maybe just anticipating the rain, try to get it as firm and fast as possible. There was also some talk about maybe some advantages for one side of the wave or the other. It looks like the wind could be higher Thursday afternoon and Friday morning. So maybe there's something to think about there with the AM PM split. But Len, any thoughts on the weather and what would be your score prediction for the week?
Yeah, the rainiest day last I looked is Thursday, and one of the things I do, another shameless plug here, is I contribute some picks every week to bookies.com, and one of the things they ask us for is a first round leader. And with the weather the way it is, if you are going to play first round leader, I would go with an early guy. You want to get a guy who can get his round in. You say it's going to be windy on Thursday. I think there are a lot of advantages maybe to the early split for a lot of reasons, for all kinds of betting, but certainly for that as well. The over/under is 11. I'm trying to think of who I picked now in my, since I teased that, who I did that. I can't even quite remember now. Gosh darn it.
It probably wasn't that important anyways.
Yeah, but 11.5 is the over/under on golfodds.com. I'm going to say that's a little low. I think we'll get we can get a 13 or a 14 out of this, maybe.
Yeah, that's surprising it was that low. I thought it would be closer to about 15, especially if we do get some rain to soften things up a little bit. But yeah, I said 15 under for that.
All right, Brooks Koepka, first round leader, of course. He's getting out.
Oh, yes.
He's kind of early. He's plus 4,900, 4,900, plus 4,900, a good number there. And he is going to get out on the earlier wave on Thursday.
What a story that would be, if he got out there and started cooking like that. Any other thoughts from anybody? Anything anybody's got to get off their chest for this week, or any other thing anybody wanted to bring up? No,
pretty excited.
Okay, yeah,
I think we're good. Let's get to it.
Colin better perform, or else.
Colin better perform, or yeah. This week is going to have major implications. Your one and done season may very well be decided by what happens this week. If some of the people that are near the top that have already had really good seasons picks the winner, gets the 4.5 million. It's probably about over. So big week for one and done, big week for betting, for DFS. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We will be back next Tuesday to recap everything that happened at the Players, and we will be looking ahead to the Valspar Championship, the final event of the Florida Swing. It's a really good field there for that event. So always excited for the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. But if you want to follow any of us on X, follow us throughout the weekend for updates on the tournament and whatnot. You can follow me at Roto_Ryan. You can follow Lynn at Lynn Hochberg. You can follow Kevin at FreeKOB, and you can follow Lauren at Jump Sports Talk. We will see you guys all next week.